Welcome to Casting Friendship, a Dungeons and Dragons and Feelings podcast. I am one of your hosts, Melanie.
And I'm your other host, Kara.
And together we are KaraMel. Today we are chatting about being a forever DM and how that can be seen as an act of service. I'd like to cast friends.
Roll for charisma.
Kara, would you say that acts of service is your love language?
Yeah, probably. I don't want to say it is. But yeah, like I think
Tell me more about that.
Yeah. I think I would. Okay. Oh, okay. I think everybody has two different love languages, and one is the way you receive love, and the other is the way you give love, right? So the way I give love is, and that's not me I don't think that's like something people say. The way I give love is certainly acts of service. The way I receive love, I think is quality time. So I do acts of service to get people to spend time with me. And wow, does that align to being a DM or what? I'm just putting this together.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Because I'm putting in all this effort and doing a service for free. But what I'm getting back is all my friends coming together at my house and sitting around a table and paying attention to me.
Oh my gosh. That makes so much sense. I feel like I experience that because I love being the host. Like I'm the host in my group where I host like dinner parties and get-togethers. Everyone comes to my house and I want to make all the food and like prepare all the spaces and like set up all the activities. And I'm like, yes, you come over and I want you to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, and like all my friends are people who like to receive host services. Yeah. Like I wouldn't be able to always be the host if all of my friends had the same love language or gave love the same way. We'd all have to take turns being host, but I want to be the host all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
I want everybody to come to me and be in my world.
I know.
So I can set the stage and show them a good time.
Yes, and I love just like remembering all of like their favorite foods and their preferences, and they come over and I just have everything set up perfectly. Yes. Oh my gosh, that makes me so excited.
Little fun ways to show you love someone. Like,
yeah,
we have like our, I don't know, it's like a living room, but it's massive. It's like half of the upstairs. It's just like a big great room, and it's really long. It's longer than it is wide, and it has this big beautiful picture window behind me that I'm in. And so I was like, how am I going to furnish this? Like, I wanted a low couch that was going to allow like the view of the big window at the end of the room. But I wanted a lot of space for people to sleep over. So I bought this crazy like 12-foot wide couch that's like also a sectional. So it has an L on one end and a chaise lounge on the other. I bought a separate chaise lounge that's in here. And I bought 2 big ottomans that can slide in up against the couch, and then a bunch of mattress toppers so that it turns into just this like massive bed that people can crash.
Giant bed.
Yes. And so like I'm always having parties, and we live out here in the middle of nowhere. And so I have to make sure that like people feel safe and comfortable to sleep over, right? So I'm like, you shouldn't drink and drive. Here's a very comfortable bed. Like, you're going to sleep here better than you would sleep in your own house. And there's going to be a cat on your head.
Can all the Knights of D20 fit on this massive bed?
Easily. Yes.
We're coming over.
Yes, we need to have a Knights of D20 sleepover.
Oh, pajama party.
That would be cute. So fun. We can play Mario Kart and drink, I don't know, mimosas. That'd be a great time.
Yeah. I feel like acts of service is definitely one of my love languages. Another thing that I really love, I don't know if this is gifts or acts of service. So I kind of wanted to chat with you about this, because my favorite thing to do is trying to find the perfect gift for someone. And this has only happened a couple of times, but this is probably one of my absolute favorite things in the whole wide world. Like, have you ever given a gift to someone and they cried because it was like the perfect gift?
I've given people like cards that made them cry, like notes, but
Yeah.
I've never been able to nail it with a gift like that. No.
Yeah. It was.
Are you?
I'll tell you. I'll give you one example.
Please
I feel
do.
like they're all very vulnerable, but
No, I'm dying to know.
I'll tell you one example. So, one of my very good friends, she was telling me about like a Christmas candy that she had when she was very, very young, and that she's never had it, or she hasn't found it since her childhood. And she, to the best of her abilities, she described this candy to me and how much she wanted to have it. And I went online, I searched forever to find this random candy with the most vaguest description, and I fucking found it. And when I gave it to her, she cried.
What an incredible gift. That's so good. The best gifts cost almost nothing in money, but cost everything in time and consideration.
Yeah, so is that a gift or is that an active service? 'Cause I feel like that's more active service,
That's
right? Because it's all about
it's about
hunting it down, right?
the attention to detail, hunting it down like that. The amount of time you spent, that's an act of service. That's not a gift.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
What's your how do you like to receive love? If the way you give love is acts of service, do you also like to receive acts of service, or do you have a different receptive love language?
No, mine is also quality time. Mine's also quality time.
Wow.
So I wonder if maybe I should be a DM. Should we switch?
I think you'd love it. Yeah, you want to trade?
Oh my gosh. I'm nervous.
You're nervous. Tell me more about that. Why?
I don't know. I feel like I'm not very quick or witty, and I'm not sure. I think I feel like I'm usually very easily influenced by other people's input, especially when it comes to like storytelling. And I feel like, because sometimes we'll ask questions and you'll be like, no, it's not like that, but it's like this. And you'll clarify and describe. And my instinct is to be like, it wasn't, but it is now. And
I see how that would worry you, but half the time I'm doing that. So if I can do it, you can do it. And I disagree that you're not quick and witty. You are so funny and witty. So that's a moot point, but I understand.
Thank you.
I also think that I'm like the least funny person. But then I'll like laugh at myself when I rewatch an episode of Dion Rising. Like, am I laughing at my own freaking joke? Stop. So I'm
so hilarious.
Yes, I'm learning to like positive talk with myself about, yes, I am funny. People do think that I'm silly.
Maybe we'll do a one shot and we can try it out.
Yeah, I think you should. That would be incredible. I love doing one shots with people. I have a friend who just did a one shot, and I might have already told you or some members of Nice D20 about this. One of my best friends just did a one shot recently, and she based it. We didn't know this, but she based the whole thing off Twilight movies.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Can you tell me what was it like walking through? Yeah.
So she did like kind of not Curse of Strahd, Raven's Loft or whatever. The vampire one. And so we thought, like, all she told us going into it, she was like, yeah, we're playing in this world. We're playing Ravenloft. And you guys are basically going to be going through, like, a house. And every decision you make, is going to affect what the encounters are or whatever. And there's, like, a timer ticking, sort of. And you're going to have to, like, you're going to fight shitty vampire man. And we were like, cool. So we all, like, took that at face value. And we did not realize that every NPC, except for one, was named after people from Twilight. Like, we had a Jacob, we had an Edward, like...
That is hilarious. When did you guys figure it out, though?
We were in, like, the last battle. I think we walked up to the last battle, and it was one of the men, I think, said, like, is this fucking Twilight? And she said, yup. And we were fighting Edward.
That's so funny.
Jacob was our ally, and he was a lycanthrope.
Oh, my God.
We were crying laughing. We were like, how did you pull this over on us for so long? Like, it was there all along.
Oh my god,
she was incredible. And she said, like, yeah, I didn't like it. I was pretty stressed out. I don't think I'll DM again. It was her first time ever DMing. And she was like, I just don't think it was like my best work. And I was like, it was incredible. I would never, everybody at the table was like, you did awesome. You seemed so cool-headed. You seemed like you had it all worked out. And every little twist and thing we tried to pull on you, she was like so collected. And as if that was her plan all along. she was a great DM. She should DM again. But she was like, the planning was awful, which I get.
I actually don't mind planning. Planning is something that I enjoy.
I think you'd be a really good DM then, because I like the planning part of DMing too. It's time consuming, but it's fun. That's when I'm doing creative writing stuff. It's half the fun.
Okay. Well, since this episode is about being the forever DM, maybe by the end of this, you can convince me to do a one-shot. Is it going to be a Knights of D20 stream? Are we streaming this?
We should. That'd be pretty cool. It would add some pressure, but...
You're going to watch me? No, but it'll be fine because Dane will be there to do all the technical stuff.
Yeah, no, it's easy DMing for this group because everybody knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
When I don't know the answer to something, I just like pause a little bit longer as if I'm considering my words, and someone else answers the question. And I just go, yep, I totally knew that. So there's never been a better group to DM for your first time.
Oh my gosh, the people in this group are amazing. Like you and Dane and Royal and like Bobby. Like the depth of understanding that you guys have of the rules is so insane to me because I can barely play my character. I mean, last episode, I tried to ask if I could shoot a spell through a window.
You could have. If you tried again, the window would have broke. You were using a force spell.
But I thought I could go through the glass.
It's like very thick glass on a sailing ship.
It'll be fine. It'll work.
I don't know the rules that well. My tabs that have Google open during any given session are many. They are plentiful. I am constantly Googling as fast as my little fingers can fly. So you don't even have to have that solid a grasp on the rules to be a good DM. I have more of a grasp. The challenging part is having a good grasp on your own story and your own world. Especially when you homebrewed things. Well, I guess either way, because even if you're trying to like work out of like an adventure book, you kind of have to know a lot about how that book works and like where the beginning, middle, and end are and all the different ways it could veer off. It's just a lot of information to remember at any given time, and your players will never ask you the question you expect them to ask. So as much as you think you know, you kind of have to decide like, this is more of a guideline, and if things go off the rails, I just have to sound like this was the plan all along, more than you have to know everything. Because I'm not good at memorizing. Yeah. Even stuff I made up myself, I'm like, what the fuck did I write down?
Yeah, I remember you talking about this during tea time, about how being a DM is really about improv and just like going and responding to the group.
Yeah, truly. It helps, like you said, like being able to say no. Like, no, but that's like a skill that you have to hone appropriately. Like, you don't want to say no to everything they say. Sometimes what you guys come up with is 10 times funnier or cooler than what I come up with. So in those cases, I'm like, yeah, you totally figured it out. You're smart. Good job.
You guys are so clever.
You guys are so clever. You got me. But like, it's all about like having options. Like,
yeah,
you know. Like we've talked about this before, just like the theory of illusion or like the feeling of having different choices. That's all you need. Give people 3 options. That way you don't have to plan a whole world. Don't just...
Okay. So you want to limit their choices. Yeah. Okay. So not just open world with nothing set and you're like, all right, guys.
What do you do?
Start exploring.
Yeah. A really good way to like get a silent table, which is just so awkward, is to say like, all right, you're in the city. Where do you go?
Yeah.
So many people, like there's too many options. You just like freeze. Everybody at the table is just like, okay, who's going to make this massive decision, which is not a big deal of a decision, but feels like a big decision because they have to consider so many options. And they also you haven't given them any context. Like, well, are people walking around? Like, are we supposed to be going to a church? Like, are you just going to, what? There's too many options.
Yeah. They're paralyzed. Yeah.
So you can really work with like the psychology of humans to make sure that they feel like they have power and choice and agency. But really all I have to actually have planned and remembered is like 3, maybe 4 options. And then like a creative way to present those as like equally tasty or like if one is the option that I really want you to follow, I will still give you 3 options, but only one of those is really gonna like trick you. There are little subtle things I do that I'm not gonna tell you about because I don't want to ruin it, but like little things I do to like make it to dangle the bait just a little bit more so that it's not like this thing is super cool and those 2 things are fine, but like, you know, you have this, this, and this option, and then you sprinkle in something from someone's like character arc, like, oh, this person would run so fast away from something like this NPC, so I'm gonna put them at the thing I don't want them to go to, or, you know, little tricks. Knowing people. Being a good DM is knowing how people react to little psychological puzzles.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I have so many questions related to what's happening in the campaign, but we will not get into it.
Save that for my next tea time.
I have some ideas, but we will put a pin in those. So, okay, tell me about what you love about being a DM.
Like I said, I like acts of service. That's how I show people I care. We've talked about, like, at some points in my life that has been to a detriment, giving acts of service to people who don't deserve that much effort from me.
Oh my gosh.
Or who will take advantage.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing about DMing is, God, I just like, there's so much value, and it's just as simple as this. There's so much value and so many good things that happen inside my brain when I'm sitting with people laughing at a joke.
Yeah.
And the more people laughing at the same joke, it doesn't have to be my joke. I prefer laughing. I prefer teeing up players. That's why I like being a DM. I don't want to be making the jokes all the time. I want to tee up other people to make really fun jokes that make me laugh out loud. I get to like turn my friends into little comedians.
Oh my gosh,
little powerhouses of like dramatic moments. Like I love like I haven't made people cry at a table yet, but I can only imagine if someone had a character moment where it made me cry, like the emotional release, I would get out of that. I don't want to make other people have those releases. I want them to give me that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I think I understand. It's giving other people a platform to shine. Is that kind of how it is for you? Okay, I understand. I love that. That's so beautiful.
I like watching people perform. I like going to concerts. I like going to comedy shows. And I just get to like set up a scenario where my friends, who I have a lot of like pretty introverted friends, and D&D is such a safe space for like everybody. I don't have to like do anything different than just how a good DM runs a game for them to feel safe playing a character or being funny or making jokes or just taking control where they wouldn't in real life. Like I get so much enjoyment. Like I get to watch my friends perform and like feel confident and have fun. And it's good for people to laugh in a group.
Oh my gosh. I feel like you're starting to convince me. I feel like this is something that I desire.
I think you would like it. I think we're very similar in a lot of ways. And so I think all the traits that make me a pretty good DM would make you a pretty damn good DM. And that's what I thought about my friend who ran that Twilight one shot. I was like, girl, because she plays in a couple of my other campaigns. And she was actually in my campaign that premiered last night.
Which one was she?
She plays the Aarakocra, the little raven Aarakocra, the rogue.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember. Yeah.
So like she's always doing like character voices. She like is an actress. Like she plays such incredible characters. Like she said she had a dream. Like yesterday I was texting her and I was like, do you have a backstory for your character? And she was like, well, I had one written down, but then last night I had an incredibly vivid dream as my character, and now I have a whole different backstory. So I'm writing that right now. And I'm like, fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
Like she gets in character. That. And so like she has all these traits that I'm like, you would be an incredible DM. I want to see you throw NPC after NPC at us. Like that's the thing she has the most fun with, I think, in D&D is playing characters. So I'm like, she would be a great DM because she would get to play all these fun characters and like utilize all these people in her head.
I will say voices are not my strong suit. So that's something I'll have to work on.
Mine either. I've been practicing though. You heard my little French tabaxi, French German tabaxi, or French Russian, whatever.
I thought that was very good.
She was very cute, right? I was proud of how she sounded. So I'm getting better. No. That's a growth point for me too, though. It's not so much about the voices. It's more about, I guess everybody does it differently. Like Matt Mercer can like embody a character, like his face changes. I can't do that. I'm not a character. But I can describe someone really well
Yeah.
to like elicit certain reactions. So I depend on that to make my NPCs really fun. So you don't have to be good at playing other people. You can just be good at like describing and understanding different kinds of people. I feel like you probably have that skill buried deep down somewhere that you haven't gotten to stretch.
I haven't. I'm not an actor. So this will be interesting.
Yeah. Improv and acting are two different skills. And I think I'm good at improv, but I'm not a good actor. I'm good at like reacting quickly, but I'm not good at like portraying something I'm not feeling or you know, putting on a different face or voice or embodying a different person like physically.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm doing. I can like say as Kara what this person would be doing or what they would look like, and I can try and do a little bit of
as like an observer.
Yes. Yeah.
I see.
And you'll notice now that I've told you this, you'll notice I only like slip into role play with you guys pretty rarely. I usually set up a scenario, put someone in the room. Like I think you guys had me role play Hattie in that one conversation, and then role playing like this tabaxi. But most of the time, I'm just telling you like what they're doing, or like I'll say like they say this, or they roll their eyes, or they look at you sideways. A lot of the time, I'm not actually talking in character with you. I'm not actually doing the in character role play like you guys do with each other. Because I'm not very good
gosh, I didn't realize that.
You wouldn't notice it until I just told you. But yeah, that's a trick. That's a DMing trick. And you don't notice it, so it's fine. You can do it that way. Or you can be Matt Mercer, who does the whole thing in character. He's like constantly describing things as an NPC. I'm always describing things as Kara.
Okay.
It works either way.
I understand. Yeah,
so you don't have to be a good actor to be a DM. I'm just like sitting here dispelling myths. I'm glad we're having this conversation. Anybody can DM. And I suppose my least favorite thing, I'm going to get ahead of you in this interview. My least favorite thing about DMing is that there's not enough DMs. I want to play. I want to play in a game so bad.
Yeah, tell me about that, because in chat you've talked a little bit about your experiences trying to find a game. So walk me through that. Tell me some of the experiences you've had as a player, and why is it so hard to find the DM that you're looking for?
Yeah, okay. So I guess these are kind of two different stories, because in real life, the first game I ever played as a character in was my brother's first time DMing. So I was in his home game in the house. But that fizzled out, like schedules just got busy a couple years ago.
Of course, yeah.
So I haven't been able to pick it back up. But that one was going for like a year and a half maybe before it fizzled. So that was good. But that was my first time playing. And then I'm trying to think of any other in-person games that I've not been the DM for, because I started DMing when I was still playing in my brother's game. Oh, I play in an online Pathfinder game with a few close friends and my husband. It's not D&D, but it's Pathfinder. But I was a player in that, but also scheduling happened again, and that one fizzled pretty quickly. So that's the other one I've played in as far as like my friend group games. And then I found Knights of D20 because I had been laid off from work like late last spring. So I had this whole summer just like flailing, trying to find another job in a market that was really bad and a degree that's not very useful. And so I was like, well, I'm already like at home with a computer. Like I could try and do this like getting paid to DM thing. Like I just need to make like a little income so we don't start missing mortgage payments. And I was just looking for any desperate way that I could do that while also having the time to job hunt and just put in, 12 applications a day to anything. So I was on all these different forums, and then I was like, okay, well, I'll try and do the paid thing, but until then, I'm going to try and just like join, because then I realized you have all these online games that are just like Reddit forums or whatever, where people are just like, here's a free to play Reddit game, or Facebook pages, like come and we'll post, like if a DM wants to start a game, they'll post, people can say, I want to play, and you just join up with strangers who are trying to get games going. And there's a huge community of people doing that. So I tried joining one of those free games. And it was fine, except me and one other player were the only people like saying anything at all. The rest of the group were just kind of silent, and that was like not very fun to play with. And the DM, it was a game that was based loosely on like a TV. I'm not going to get too specific. I don't want them to hear this and get offended. But it was based like, it was a cool concept because it was based on like a TV show that I like, and I was like, okay, this sounds cool. It ended up being beat for beat, just the TV show plot.
Oh
Like,
Oh,
exactly.
no.
No deviating.
So you knew it was going to happen.
Session 1, I knew what was going to happen. I was like, oh, this is literally just... And I would be like, maybe I was too harsh, but my best friend was in the room when I was playing this game on my computer. She was just like sitting off camera, like doing her own thing. She was knitting or something, but listening to me play this game. And she was just like, this is just that show. And I was like, I like muted it and I was like, right? What are we doing? Like, this DM really just wanted to like play the movie, like wanted us to act in the show. And so there was no
That's so weird.
like no matter what decision me and the one other player who were like being proactive, no matter what decision we made, he's still just like, okay, you do that. And then he would just jump to the next scene. Oh, but then this thing attacks. And I'm like, but that has nothing. We were just on the other side of this place. Like, how did we get from point A to point B? He was literally just going scene for scene from thing. And
that is like so weird. Okay. Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, so I could see some people like liking that, but that was not for me. I was like, this is taking out all the creativity of what I like about Dungeons and Dragons, the creative decision making and storytelling. Yeah. So I was like, oh, this isn't for me. Yeah, and there were also some people who were just like some of the people who weren't really participating proactively. They were also just like not playing as a team. Like, they were very much, two of them were very much the classic, like, I'm playing like a chaotic evil rogue, so I'm gonna steal your stuff, hit you in the face because that's what my character would do. That's not fun.
Yeah, I feel like the social contract you make when you play Dungeons and Dragons is that you make a character who number one wants to go on an adventure, and number two, go on that adventure with other people
willingly. Yeah, like be a part of a team. This is a team game. Yeah, so that was, I mean, I know there have been worse experiences that people have had at strangers D&D tables. I read about them all the time on Reddit, but I've not been in one worse than that. At least that one was just terribly awkward. That one was just, I just felt like so awkward and uncomfortable the whole time, which is not a way I typically feel playing D&D. I'm usually pretty loose and unashamed, unabashed. But this one I was just like, it was like living in an episode of the British version of The Office. I just kept like staring at the camera. Is this real? Only the camera was my best friend and she was like... Yeah, so, but as much as that was a bummer, like 2 days later, I found Bobby. Or Bobby found me, or vice versa. And here we are. So... the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Okay. So tell me more about like the struggles of finding opportunities to be a player.
Yeah. Like, I have to, like, being a DM is, like, a fair amount of time and work. So just, like, logistically, not everybody can do it. Even people who are capable and would be great DMs, people are busy. And this is a game. Like, we've talked about prioritizing game time and how it, like, the world does not make that a priority. And it's very hard to do it personally. And we live in a world where time is limited. And we have to spend so long making money to survive. Or, you know, have heavy social calendars or whatever. So, like, just the time that it takes to be a decent DM, even just being a decent DM and not going the extra mile in home brewing or practicing your DM skills or like reading deeply into the story so you're ready for anything. Like, that's all extra. You can be a really good DM and just read the book, know the rules. You can get in there and do it. But even that takes time that not everybody has. Some people have time to show up to a game once a month and play, and then not think about it again until the next playtime. So okay, so when I'm just that logistic, there's just fewer people who can DM versus playing, and then on top of that,
I see.
Like I'm gonna be picky. Like I do believe you can be a bad DM. So and I don't know.
And it sounds like.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a lot of work even just to be a bad DM or an okay DM. The time investment is immense.
Exactly. So the pool just keeps getting smaller, right? Like, not only does not everybody have time, but the people who do have time, not all of them are DMs I want to play with. I won't say like good or bad DMs. DMs that aren't my style.
Yeah.
My friends all have me to DM and only time for one campaign. So
Yeah.
some of them try DMing, doing a one shot. They think they don't like it. I try and convince them that they should do a whole campaign. But I've brought in a lot of my friends to D&D, but none of them think they have the chops to DM. Which I think you can be brand new to life and be a DM if you're creative and happy to play with people. I don't know. I don't know what the requirements are.
It feels intimidating because there's so many people. I feel like they're all looking to you to make decisions, to make things happen, to lead them and to guide them. And I feel like it's easy to be overwhelmed by that and to feel like you don't have the tools to manage all of those expectations of so many people.
Yeah. It is very, like, it's not something that comes to me naturally in life. Like, I don't really have any, like, aspirations to be a leader. I don't really have any aspirations to, like, have people depend on me, really. I do, obviously, but not on, like, a level. So that is a challenging part of DMing for me, is, like, the fact that, like, it hinges on my story. It hinges on how well I can, like, guide you down the right path, or and how subtly I can do it at the same time. Like, it is, you're right, it is higher pressure too, and not everybody wants, this is a game. Some people want to show up and just, like, not think. They want to look at their numbers on their sheet, roll the dice, and giggle. And that's part of what I love about D&D, is that you can do that. And most people just need that in their lives. They don't need to also be leading a team meeting once a week.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see that makes a lot of sense. So again, the pool gets smaller. So the pool of people who I can play with gets smaller and smaller. I'd love to, like, play around the table with my friends in real life, but none of them are interested in DMing because of all these reasons, because of X, Y, and Z. Very valid reasons. So yeah, here I am stuck. I could try more, like, stranger groups and more online groups. But that's also a time commitment that I do not have time for. Yeah, I don't know. Will I ever get to play a campaign of D&D again? It's a mystery. Only time will tell.
Oh my gosh. This breaks my heart.
Aw, don't be sad. I love being a DM, to be fair. I'm having fun. If I didn't love it, I wouldn't be doing it. I'm good at making people do stuff I want them to do by asking nicely over and over and over again. Someone would eventually try DMing because they love me. But for now, I guess I'll keep writing fun little stories and teeing up my friends to tell really silly jokes that I don't expect. Because that's fun too.
So tell me about, okay, you mentioned different DMing styles. So tell me the DM styles that you like and that you don't like.
Yeah. I mean, I think you see in the DM I try to be what I like. Like, I like a world that fits your character, or like a world that shapes your character and your character arc. I like giving players a world that, like, feels rich and allows them some immersion. So I would want a DM who could do that for me, who's, like, a rich storyteller. And I like DMs who, frankly, I like playing with rule of cool DMs. Like, I like the creative aspect of D&D. So I always say, like, if you can come up with a creative enough solution that doesn't, like, break the laws of physics or break the game, then I'm probably going to say yes, because, like, I want to reward that incredible creative improvised moment, right? Like, I love that about the game. I love the way the human brain works and watching my friends, like, surprise themselves with cool stuff. And I'm never going to punish that, because, like, that's so fun to see. I like doing it. I think humans are cute. And whenever we say something that is unexpectedly brilliant or witty or outsmarts me, I'm just like, that's what we're here for. I love it. And I like that it's, I like DMs that are lower, less competitive. Because for the same reason, I like that it's a cooperative storytelling game. And I, as a DM, am cooperating with all of you. I don't see it as me versus the party. Like, I always joke, like, I'm trying to kill you all, ha ha ha. But, like, no, I'm just, like, challenging you all. But, like,
Yeah.
really, I consider myself, like, part of the D&D party. This group of people who are telling a collaborative story together. So it's not fun for me if I have a DM who is always trying to, like, beat me. Because I'm like, we're gonna beat the game. Like, you're not the bad guy if you're the DM. You're also all the good guys, too.
Mm-hmm.
And you're the world. So, yeah, I think that's a very, like, high-level answer. A low-level answer would be, I like DMs who have cool painted miniatures. I like
If we're playing in person.
tiny versions of the characters that are in my head.
Little Polly Pockets.
Like Polly
On the
Pockets.
table.
I just want to play with little dolls. I'm just a girl. Yeah,
Oh my gosh, should we make minis of everybody in the campaign?
For my home games, yeah. I've thought about doing it for all your characters. Someday I might.
Oh my gosh.
My husband got a 3D printer. So now he can print them. I don't have to, like, buy them on Etsy. I was just buying the closest one that I could find to, like, the appearance I have in my head on Etsy, and then I hand paint them. Little tiny paintbrushes.
Oh my gosh, that's so adorable.
And I like...
Maybe that should be during our pajama party. We do painting minis.
That's such a good idea, because it's so fun. We can all do... I always do... I have so many animal miniatures, like wild shape minis and animal companion minis. Those are some of my favorite, because some of them are just one's just like a regular turkey and one is like a donkey, and those are like the most fun because I just like Google a picture of a donkey and I'm like, I could paint that on this little guy, and it's just a little tiny version of a normal animal, and I think they're so funny to pull out. But I also get to paint things like, there are some things I've never used. Like, one of them is 3 crows in a trench coat. I have a miniature that's just 3 crows in a trench coat that I had my husband print for me. And I have one. I have a set in there. We call them the murder turkeys, because one's just a normal turkey. One is a turkey with a knife in its beak, and one is a turkey like attacking with said knife. They get progressively angrier.
Just escalates.
Yes, I have one, and it's a giant crab, and it's holding 2 swords in its claws. These are all things that I plan on like just throwing into one of my games someday, just to get a reaction.
As a Marylander, I like the crab one. That's a good one.
I'll save that one for you. I'll make sure you have to fight. That way you can have a really great crab bake afterwards. Crab like bucket. Yeah, I love, and I take like a couple days. Like, when I start painting minis, I usually like collect a bunch that I want, and then I take a couple days where I'm just like in my office watching a show or something and painting minis.
Yes. Okay, so this is completely off topic, but one of my favorite things to do is to get into that flow state. Is that what you're describing?
Yes.
Where you just zone in? Yeah. So I like to do extremely meticulous tasks, like maybe like knitting.
Yeah. Repetitive.
I love,
meticulous.
Yeah. Something that's very detailed and meticulous, and then putting on a show that I only have to pay attention to. So the perfect thing is around the holidays. It's those Hallmark Christmas movies, right?
Where you know
I've seen so many. Yeah. I've seen so many of them. I don't even remember which ones I've watched and which ones I haven't.
They all just follow the same tropes. They're all equally comforting.
It doesn't matter. But all I want is to just like zone in to like knitting or baking or whatever activity it is, and just lose myself and just half pay attention to the show. Oh my gosh, that's my absolute happy place.
We are kindred spirits, because yes, that's exactly what I was just describing. That's the best. And like, it's not just painting minis. Like, I go through cycles. Like, I also paint like oil paint. So sometimes every couple years I get the itch and I make a couple oil paintings, but it's the same thing. Like, I flow, and then like I'll do it for a couple days. Like, if I have like a long weekend, or like I'll do it every night of the week after work. Like, it's repetitive until I'm like done with the thing or ready to like come out of it. I don't know, like whenever I'm feeling like it worked. Somehow I just kind of know like, yes, I have recharged. That's how that makes
Oh
me
my gosh. Well, Willie, I've also done a couple oil paintings. Will you at least share one?
Yes. Let me see if I have
Okay,
any
if you
photos
share
of
one,
it.
I'll share one.
Yeah. I did a
Let
lot
me
of
see if I can
landscapes when
find-
we moved out here, like from my office
Okay.
window. And I'm particularly proud of those, even though they were kind of boring to paint because it's just like red, greens, and browns. But I'm proud of how they turned out.
I'm so excited to see these. I always love the picture sharing moment of this podcast.
I do too. I still need to start our Instagram. So maybe that's something I'll do this week. So we can share with our fan group. We have a fan group now.
I know.
What a life. But they deserve to see all these beautiful pictures we share with each other. Because it feels like that's an integral part of this process. Oh, I just scrolled past a picture of those cream puffs that I told you about.
I want to see them.
They were so tasty. All right. What else I love about this picture sharing part of this podcast is that we put it in the Knights of D20, like just public casting friendship Discord channel, so that everybody's always just like, what?
So random.
Cream puffs. Those things took me 2 days to make.
I want to see.
I just sent them.
Okay, let me see.
They're in the pod Discord. Now I got.
Oh, I put it in the other one. Ooh. How do you break it up into 2 days? Is one the puff and then the other is filling and icing it?
I think the filling had to chill overnight or something. And then also the puffs had to, no, they puff in the oven. The puffs had to cool off after they were baked. Before
to ice it and to fill it. Yeah, that makes sense.
So 2 different parts took multiple days.
Yeah.
Or like overnight.
Okay, I put mine in the wrong one.
And they were also just like incredibly tedious. So every part of it was slow because they're also real little and there's a ton of them.
Oh my gosh, I know. Look at them.
Okay, we should send each other these pictures. And then for the pod, since they won't get to see them right away, I mean, unless I post them before we post this episode, we can both describe each other's paintings to the viewers. We can say, like, this is what I'm seeing.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Have a little art show. Oh man, I'm going to send you some minis too. I just got to some of them.
Yes.
Some cute little animals. Oh, I forgot we had a picture. A whole channel that I made for pictures. Look at your painting. It's an onion. Onions are my favorite food.
Oh my god. These little animals are so cute.
Aren't they perfect?
God.
Thank you.
Look at that little kitty on the throne. And it even has a little crown.
You see why I love painting them? They're so satisfying when they're done. And it's like very repetitive, like waiting. I do like 8 to 10 at a time because I just, you have to do a layer of paint and then wait.
Like
let it dry.
And stuff.
So I just go round and round and round and round the same minis over and over and over again, switching until they're all done almost at once. And I just have a whole batch of like adorable little mammanos.
Oh my god, this is amazing.
And I do character minis and those are fun too, but I'll have to send those on another day because I'm just trying to find an oil painting day.
I think this squirrel is my favorite.
Yeah, the squirrel's pretty good. His little face. Those eyes took forever. I'm really particularly proud of the bobcat jumping over the log. And
yeah.
It's not a very good picture of it,
but fluffy. The little bobcat's so fluffy.
Yes. Yeah, I like the rats in this squirrel too. They're cute.
Oh no, does this tree man have an axe in his head?
He does. He has a little axe in his head.
That's so sad.
Those are also minis that I have not used yet, but I'm determined to.
Oh my gosh. I definitely want to do this.
I forget how long I've been living at this house, how far back I have to scroll to find when I made these landscape paintings. I love your onion. What made you describe to me the process? What made you decide to paint an onion? Did you use an onion? Did you paint it from memory?
Yeah, it was just an onion.
You just had an onion sitting there and you were like, I'm gonna paint this.
Yeah.
Freaking love. Is it because you love eating onions?
You know what? I do love eating onions, but you know what I like more? Garlic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Garlic, I never let a recipe tell me how much garlic to use because I
I'll always
just
just
follow my heart.
and I'll use garlic like in every step of the process too, in
Yeah.
all its different forms.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what would be good? Let's do some garlic and then some powdered garlic.
And garlic goes with like everything. Goes
Yeah.
in any kind of food and makes it better.
Okay. Have you ever had this food item? I don't know how to describe it. It's like is it a dressing or a dip? Have you had Toum? Toum?
No.
It's this garlic paste almost.
Okay. Tell me more.
It's a garlic sauce. It is garlic, salt, olive oil, vegetable oil, and lemon juice. They're crushed together in a mortar and pestle.
Oh my god.
It's Lebanese.
It sounds so easy to
It's
make. Like I could just
it's
have it at
just
home all the time.
it's just like this very intense garlic flavor, and I just love to eat it with rice. It's so delicious.
I will be giving that a try. That sounds awesome.
So good. I love this little kitty on the throne.
King Kitty. He looks like he's so cute, but I think he's a bad guy. As I was painting him, I was like, "Who are you, Kitty on a throne?" I think he's evil.
But you know what? Just because he is evil doesn't make him less adorable.
I agree. I agree completely. The best evil characters are really lovable and cute. I will stand by that.
Are there a lot of those in popular media? I'm trying to wonder.
I feel like in a lot of our kids' cartoons there were. Like
That's
Mojo
true.
Jojo was kind of
That's
cute.
true. I'm not familiar with Mojo Jojo.
You didn't watch Powerpuff Girls growing up?
I did not.
Oh, that was developmental for me.
I am vaguely familiar with the Powerpuff Girls, but
Mojo Jojo's like, I don't know, a monkey who was like experimented on. And so he's a monkey, but his
I
head
think I
is chopped off
remember
right here,
this.
and he has his brain showing inside like a jar of fluid.
Oh my gosh, I vaguely remember this.
And he's just like a crazy silly little guy. Oh my gosh, my cats are so cute. I'm such a crazy cat lady. Anyway, the picture I sent in the tea time chat is
in the tea
the
time
painting I'm
chat?
most proud of, but I never. This photo. I don't have a photo of it finished for some reason, so it's only halfway done. There's trees in the foreground that you can see the beginning of in that picture.
No, this is gorgeous.
Thank you.
Wow.
Why did I put it in tea time chat? Whoops. Yeah, okay, so I painted this from a photo I took. I don't know, maybe I love it because it's like special to me. We moved in here, COVID hit. That winter, I had to go like full lockdown. Like my doctor was like, "Hey, you have really severe asthma and you always get pneumonia." And you're like, it was before we had vaccines for COVID, and he was like, "You know how some like perfectly healthy young 30-year-old people are just dying from COVID? You could be one of them. Like your lungs already don't work."
Oh my god.
And I was like, "Okay." And he was like, "So just don't get COVID." And I was like, "Okay." So I went like full in my home lockdown for the winter months until I could get vaccinated.
Wow.
And I took a photo. This is down the hill from our house through the woods. My husband and I got up on Christmas Eve, and I was like really depressed after being home for like 3 months with like no one but my husband and my parents.
Oh my god.
And I was just like, I'm losing my mind. And we got up at like this was sunrise, and we had to walk down there for about an hour. So we got up an hour before sunrise, walked down there. In the dead of winter, it was freezing, and stood on the little river we live next to. And I took that photo, and then I was like, oh, I love this photo. I'm going to paint it because I like the light. So that's how
it's gorgeous. I feel like you're really capturing this light.
Thank you. The light, and I like the mud. I think the mud is real.
I noticed the texture. It's like crackly. It's like dry.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
And I had been watching a lot of Bob Ross, so I was like, I'm just going to paint nature. Some happy little trees.
Yes.
Shoot, we'll have to have an art show someday.
I know. Are we going to have a paint and sip?
We should. That should be the other thing we do. We'll paint minis, and we'll just paint on canvases. And we will drink mead and whiskey.
This is hilarious. I wonder if we can do a paint and sip online. Like a virtual paint and sip?
Ooh. Why couldn't we?
Is
Why
that
not?
possible?
Why shouldn't we?
Is that something we could do?
Yeah.
Like each of us gets our own canvas,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We all watch a video, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and try and recreate it. And we just like chit chat and bullshit. And we give ourselves a time limit. And when the time limit's over, we show each other all our paintings.
We all flip and laugh at each other.
Oh, that should be our first dark arts and crafts.
Yes.
We have to run this by Bobby.
I think that's cute. I like it.
That would be a good like holiday. Like when we're all bored around the holiday season. We can do a sip.
It should be a holiday.
I feel like I've only ever done those in real life around like Christmas time for some reason. They're always like Christmas themed.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, I'm invested in this. I feel like this is something we're gonna do.
I agree. And I love painting. It's so fun. It's so nice like running a wet paintbrush across paper or canvas. Just like tactily. I love it.
Yeah, I feel like going back to like the shame we feel as we're growing up and like, you know, how we used to play pretend. I feel like we all used to be artists.
Yeah.
As children, right? And then it's only when we have realization of like judging our art as either good or bad or proficient or not as good as so-and-so's, that's when we stop because we start to feel shame about our own abilities.
Yeah, even though we have fun making art.
Yeah.
But and I'm always talking about brain chemistry. There are really good and like healthy things that happen and different good hormones you get from like creating something, not necessarily showing off that creation or finishing it, but the act of doing it.
Yes. I think something that's not normalized enough is pursuing something creatively and it being socially acceptable that you're not that good at it. But you still enjoy it. Let me tell you about my one friend. She plays tennis. I actually have never seen her play tennis, so I do not know her tennis abilities, but she describes herself as someone who's a very mediocre tennis player, but she spends an immense amount of time playing tennis. Yes, and I admire her so much because she tries to tell me about like interviewing to get into different tennis leagues and how often she gets rejected, and she still does not feel deterred. She still enjoys it so much, and it's the activity and the act of playing tennis that is the enjoyment for her and not
getting better
and beating someone and being competitive. And I think we don't have enough of that spirit because we always want to be better than the next person. We always want to make it our thing. We want to monetize our hobby somehow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I admire her so much because she can enjoy something and just feel very happy and content being mediocre and still want to pursue it day in and day out.
Man,
I love
like
that.
the act of like, that's so cool of her to be able to like turn off her brain to like the need to be productive to produce some results.
Yeah.
Just enjoying the act. Like she's like living in the moment, right? Like that's quintessentially someone who's living for the now and not thinking remotely about what the reward is gonna be at the end. Because the reward is currently happening and I'm gonna feel it while I'm in it. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And I think that's it's very difficult to get there. Kudos to her. That's so cool.
It's amazing because I think you're enjoying, and you know, it is a competitive game. There is a loser and a winner. So I think you are still trying to win, but I like that the overall effect isn't, okay, well now I just need to be better. Or I'm going to quit because I'm not the coolest person on the court.
Yeah, not everything
I
has
feel
to
like
be
that's
about constant improvement.
exactly, exactly. And I feel like that's kind of like how playing D&D is like it's more about just enjoying the game for what it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah, truly. I like here we are like with the Knights of D20, like commodifying our own hobby, but
Yeah.
also
We're
I'm
hypocrites.
I feel like we are a little bit. But also like that's not the point. Like we're all really here. Like each of us has said in tea time like we're here to play some fun D&D, man. Like we found
Yeah.
a group who
Yeah.
was serious about it. A lot of us came to this group because we knew it would actually continue meeting weekly for
Yeah. Yeah, that's the reason why I joined, yeah.
yeah, because we all just wanted a steady D&D group with players who are like good players that we want to play with. And we found that through the vehicle of having a stream, forcing us to make sure we stayed playing. But it doesn't feel
Yeah.
forced because we all just want to be here playing this game and we're all having so much fun in our characters.
Yeah. I feel like in a way we are kind of like my friend because I feel like okay, I do think my friend does improve. Like with playing, I think she does improve.
Yeah.
And I think the more that we play, we improve too. But it's not really about like being the best or having an ego about it. I think it is just about enjoying it and making the progress that we can make. Because I feel like I am trying to grow as a role player and I want to be better with the team too. So
Yeah. In order to have more fun though, right? Like
yeah, it's exactly. It's
Yeah.
only to participate better and immerse myself into the story better.
I love that. Yeah, I don't know. I have no closing thoughts. You just nailed it. I have no segue from there. I'm going to be thinking about that for a couple days. Like, how many moments can I reclaim and, like, make it not about improving or growing
Yeah.
or earning
Yeah.
something or XYZ thing? Even if those things come naturally, how can I have fun in the journey a little bit more?
Yes. So I'll tell you something that I do very, very frequently. So I think I shared a picture in the chat of a macaron that I made.
Yeah.
So something that I tend to do is if I make a batch I can see it in the oven before I even pull it out.
Mm-hmm.
If it's lopsided or it's cracked or I can see a flaw immediately, I have trained myself to have no emotion about it. I take it out of the oven and I immediately just start scraping it into the trash.
It doesn't sound like no emotion, but go on.
No, it's not
Yeah, you're not disappointed in yourself. You just say, try again. Didn't
yeah,
win.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that instinct because they're still perfectly good cookies in the end. They still for the most part, they taste the same. The texture is the same. It's still crunchy on the outside and
But
chewy on the
macarons have a
inside.
perfect form, and
Yes.
you like the science of trying to reach it, yeah?
Yeah, I liked reaching that peak. And I think maybe this is indicative of what I'm trying to get away from, right? It's the idea that I can't celebrate the cookie for its flaws and try to eat it and enjoy it as a flawed cookie. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. This is just me talking.
Yeah.
But next time I make it, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to scrape it into the trash.
You're just going to say, try again.
Yeah.
It's not right.
Yeah, I don't beat myself up about it, but I do want to reach the perfection.
I'm trying to think of anything I have where I feel like that. Am I a perfectionist about anything? I don't know. I don't think I am.
I think that's healthy. I think that's good. I think that's what I want is to be able to pursue something, it not be perfect, and still feel as if I've enjoyed the experience, as opposed to let me just throw this away before anyone can see, that my shells are cracked or that my shells are lopsided.
You know what? I know why I am that way. It's growth. Okay, so I taught when growth mindset was like the words du jour for special education teachers were like,
Okay, I do not know this.
So education is always like being like fed these buzzwords where it's like this is what's going to get kids to learn better. And so there was a time where it was like growth versus fixed mindset, where you kind of train yourself, you train your students, whatever, to accept their skill level where it is currently and like not give that like positive or negative weight, just to say like this is my skill level and that's fine. And you can set goals from there, but it's about knowing that like your brain, essentially it's about knowing that like kids' brains and human brains are like have plasticity and they're never really set in stone and like you have room to grow. Like failing doesn't mean you failed, it means you have room to improve. And it's kind of just like positive thinking in a fancy bow tie.
Yeah.
So I mean, it has some validity. Like, yeah, we could all use a little bit more like positivity about our quote unquote like shortcomings or the things that we wish we could do perfectly but aren't there yet. So I think maybe teaching in an era where that was a thing, I think it impressed itself upon me without me realizing it, in that like I'm pretty good at accepting my skill level in things where it is and still enjoying it. I like to improve, but I don't expect myself to ever reach perfect with a lot of the things I like to do. So I've managed to really let go of any sort of perfectionist tendencies. Of course, I want to do the best I can do. So I have a perfect for my standard, but I base it off of me and not off of, I mean, with macaroons, it'd be hard because they have a perfect standard.
There is a measure. Yes.
Yeah. And like, that's why I always say like, I'm better at cooking than I am at baking, because cooking has a lot more like, I don't know, gray area, a lot more like room for improv, if you will. Like the cut of a steak.
Creativity.
Yeah, you have to change what you're doing based on like the cut of meat you're using. Like even like one T-bone steak is not going to be the same density as another T-bone steak. So you have to adjust on the fly anyway. Therefore, you can then customize more and you have to feel the food as you're going. Whereas with baking, it's very systematic. Like you weigh your ingredients, this exact amount of ingredients will do the chemistry that needs to be done for it to turn out with this quality. Whereas cooking, you can have like a perfect endpoint, but how you get there is very different than the very formulaic chemistry of baking and like making macarons. So I don't think, I couldn't like say like, oh, I just don't have skill at making macarons, when I could see there's a perfect ending. I do things like painting and making D&D stories. Like there's no perfect version of that. I can just say like my version of perfect is perfect. Does that make sense?
I feel like cooking and baking, neither of these are perfect, but I feel like cooking is more akin to an art form and baking is more akin to a science. But that's also, okay, there's this weird thing that I love how rigid it is. I like how tedious it is. And I like that my creativity through this vehicle of making this cookie is extremely limited, right? So I can choose the color of the shell, the flavor of the shell to a certain point, and the filling, and you can make little decorations on top. You can make it different shapes and stuff, but it's all limited, and the minimum is reaching this perfect shape, the perfect feet, and the perfect roundness. And if you don't achieve that, you have failed. And I don't know why. I love that.
I mean, the pride you must feel when you have like the macaron that you sent us a photo of. That's why you love that. Because that's gotta be satisfying. I can't say I get that. I'm just at a constant state of this is fine. But you have some low lows and some high highs. I will never hit that perfect macaron high.
I like the constraints of it.
Yeah.
And this is a very narrow constraint. Is like you can have the different flavors you want.
But there are measurable outcomes.
Yes. You can win and you can lose.
Oh God, that's beautiful. Yeah, I'm not the same. This is where we differ. I do not like those narrow constraints. They stress me out. And I'm bad at coloring within the lines. So cooking is going to be the thing for me. Sometimes I want the tediousness of baking. I typically don't bake things that are challenging like macarons, but like,
Yeah.
and those were some very imperfect cream puffs you saw me send you. But
Oh, I didn't even notice that they were imperfect. No, they look adorable. And
I'm
the
proud of.
chocolate has a shine to it. That's
Yeah,
very difficult.
not all of them puffed correctly. Like, not all of them puffed the same. So some of them, like, didn't. Because a perfect cream puff, there's kind of a formula for a perfect cream puff. Like, they have to be, like,
Okay.
fully hollow inside. And almost none of these were fully hollow. A lot of them had a big enough hole to hold cream, but none of them puffed up perfectly hollow. And this was just my first try. I could eventually perfect this. I'm not, like,
Yeah,
incapable
yeah.
of perfection. I did this set. They tasted delicious. And I was like, cool, done. Never going to do that again. I don't need to reach
I actually
perfection to
didn't
feel done.
know the whole of the hollowness comes out in the baking. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so the way the dough works is I don't fucking understand the science. Maybe they'd turn out better if I understood what I was doing. But yeah, you pipe the dough, first of all, which was very difficult. I did not have the right tools to do that. But you pipe the dough kind of like you would do with macarons, right? Don't you like pipe the cookie dough? Only the dough is like very thick. The dough itself, very thick and sticky. So that was like physically, I was sweating trying to pipe this dough through this little pipette.
It's hard. Yeah,
But
your
yeah,
fingers are sore.
You pipe them in little dollops, and you can kind of see like the shape of them. Well, I guess you can't tell because I covered them in chocolate, but they're all like shaped kind of like Hershey Kisses because they were piped. So they all have these little like peaks. They're not necessarily supposed to. But yeah, I was like working my butt off. It was lucky I got them piped at all. So I think if I had piped them out better, they would have had better like gluten structure to allow for this like very delicate shell that you want in a cream puff. This like very delicate, just the outside. You want it to be fully hollow so that you can pipe the cream in.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a process. I think you should try finding just like any cream puff recipe. I wouldn't necessarily send you the one I used because it was very difficult, but I think if you like making macarons, you would probably like trying to make cream puffs. And they're also a little bit customizable, but have those constraints that you want. They have like a perfect outcome
like
if you do it right. I think it would be right up your alley.
You know what kind of, I feel like it's kind of like the kind of poems that I like, which that have like the constraints, right? It's like the haiku or like the sonnet. I like my creativity to be restrained. I like my fun to be restrained.
No, you like to find structure. You like patterns and structure. And I think that is also a creative part of the brain. People just don't call that creative. It's like the Fibonacci sequence that like is like when you visualize it, like it's the series of rectangles that then creates like nature's like spiral, right? Is that the same thing?
Yeah.
That's like the kind of like beautiful, like pattern based, like I think there's some creativity to appreciating something like that. Like that's something somewhere I see like, yes, perfect symmetry, brain happy.
Yeah. I will say that, sometimes when you're able to perfect something with such rigidity, that's when you can start breaking the rules in very specific ways. And that's how you can express yourself too.
Yeah. Once you've reached the fourth dimension.
Yeah, exactly. Once you've mastered everything.
Then you invent your own form of macaron cream puff perfect pastry.
Yes, it's the fusion of the macaron and cream puff together.
I'd eat it. Sounds like a crispy shell with a fun time inside.
Yum.
My favorite kind of dessert.
So it makes me think of DMing and, reaching perfection, because I feel like in the group, I feel like I have room to not be perfect, because in the group, we're achieving something together, and there's strong players, and there's, me who's trying to like boost my role play. I feel very comfortable in that setting because I feel like the diversity of the group makes it acceptable. Like I don't want to hold back the group, but as long as I'm not doing that, I feel like I have room to grow. But whereas the DM, there's only one, and you can't hide in the group. You just have to be pretty good.
Yeah, consistently.
That's a lot of pressure. Yeah, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and there are some weeks where I'm just like, I'm like writing what we're gonna do that night, like down to the minute that we're about to go live. Where I'm just like, I don't have it in me to like live up to this pressure right now, so I'm just gonna fake it till I make it, like hardcore. And even that, like that, I think I do a pretty good job of maintaining consistent
Oh, absolutely.
effort.
Yeah.
But there are times when that is difficult, where it's just like I am out of energy, and as much as I want to put energy into this thing, it is more energy to DM to be that consistently on than it is to be a player, like you said, and like be able to like hide behind the group, or like it would be boring if like you played Seraphina perfectly every time, and if you weren't growing as a player, we wouldn't see character growth within Seraphina. She would just already be a perfect character. That wouldn't give her a character arc, and I want you all to have character arcs. So, and I want you as players to have character arcs. And as a DM, yeah, you don't get that. So that's part of why I want to be a player again. Like I want to like make silly mistakes. And you don't, as a DM, like you make a silly mistake and you kill half the party.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or like everybody gets really bored and hates the story and are like, whatever you just said has no bearing for the rest of the plot. Like, what are you talking about?
Okay, so here's my question to you. Mm-hmm. If I DM for you, though, would you cry?
Well, you'd have
to. Because it's my gift to you, because it's a perfect gift.
You would want me to cry? Is that what you're saying? Would I cry for you to make you feel like a good DM?
Because it's the perfect gift, yeah.
Yes. Okay. As an act of service to you, yes, I will cry if you DM. Even if it's the happiest campaign, I will find a way to get an emotional reaction out of myself. It's not that hard to make me cry, but I'll pretend.
I feel like Bobby's gonna cry. If someone's gonna cry on stream, it's gonna be Bobby.
For sure. He like cries by himself thinking about his character. Like he's so emotionally invested. I love that so much. It makes it so easy for me to also be emotionally invested when someone else is putting in that like emotional energy and emotional effort. Because it's like it's hard and it's brave to be that emotionally invested in anything.
I know. Yeah.
Nonetheless, like a game we're all playing online in front of a bunch of strangers. And I think that's so brave, and it helps me be a better DM because I can be like, you know, where I don't have to take it all too seriously. I can like be too much, and it's going to fit right in with this group because Bobby's going to take it and feel something about it.
Yeah.
Oh, so satisfying. Yeah, I think he's going to be the first to cry. Then it's going to make me cry.
I feel like... I know. I want things for Morroway more than I want things for Seraphina.
Same.
He needs it more.
Yeah, Seraphina's like coasting. She's dancing through life.
This is pretty good.
I'm so excited for everything to come for all these characters. But yeah, Morroway is the one that I'm like, protect at all costs. Get him what he wants.
Exactly.
And I have to like try.
No, I want that too.
I have to put him through the ringer. I'm not looking forward to it. Of course I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. But I don't want to torture that little guy. I love him.
I know. I feel like... I wonder if I'm going to cry on stream because of Morroway.
I think we all will. I don't think there will be a dry eye in the house.
Okay.
What a game.
Well, thank you so much for chatting through your experiences about being a DM and inspiring me to consider DMing for you guys. I'll definitely have to think about it.
Thank you for even considering being a DM. It is a heavy lift, but one that is so emotionally rewarding. So
yeah,
I think even if you're not the strongest D&D player, even if you've never played D&D before, you can find the tools you need to be a great DM. So I challenge everyone to consider it at least a little. You don't have to do it. Just think about it. Just give it a try. It'll be fine. What's the worst that can happen? I guess that's good night for now, huh?
Good night.
Bye, friends.